city of Nigeria. This is Fresh 107.9. Stay tuned for the news on Fresh 107.9 FM.
It's 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. This is Global Updates on Fresh 107.9 FM at Abeokuta. I'm Wale Bakare. First, the headlines. Nigeria records 1,133 new COVID-19 cases as states adopt new measures ahead of Yuletide. IGP orders 24-hour watertight security during festivities. And foreign scene, UK bans arrivals from South Africa as COVID cases surge. In sports, Boston Celtics record win in season opener against Milwaukee Bucks. Stay tuned for details of this and more. And now the news in detail. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has reported 1,133 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of infections in the country to 80,922. The NCDC disclosed this on its Twitter handle on Wednesday night. Of the new cases reported, Lagos recorded 397 new cases, followed by the FCT with 357, and then Kaduna with 81, while Plateau reported 63 new cases. Katsina recorded 46 new cases, Sokoto 32, Oyo 28, Ogun 21, Kano 19, Rivers 18, Osun 13, Edo and Niger 12 new cases each, Bayelsa and Borno 11 new cases each, Bauchi 8 new cases, while Jigawa and Ondo had 2 new cases each. So far, 69,274 cases have been discharged in the country, while 1,236 deaths have been recorded in the country. Meanwhile, the Ogun State government has announced the suspension of street carnivals and restricted attendance to crossover services, parties, and similar gatherings. In a statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the State Governor, Kunle Shomori, the government also directed all civil servants and other government workers to proceed on Christmas and New Year holiday from Thursday, December 24th till January 4th, 2021. The directives were issued on Wednesday after a meeting between the state government and religious leaders, as well as community leaders. The government directed that religious and worship centers should not exceed 50% of their capacity, and all services must hold in compliance with all COVID-19 protocols. The statement added that all schools in the state are to remain closed until January 18, 2021, while all markets are to open strictly between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. while maintaining social distancing. Jigawa State government has reopened all the treatment and isolation centers in the state in order to accommodate the rising number of COVID-19 cases recently recorded. Governor Badar Abubakar disclosed this to journalists at the government house in Dutse, the state capital. The governor revealed that the state has recorded 1 death and 47 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the total number of fatalities and cases to 12 and 386. The governor expressed worry over the new strain of the coronavirus, which was only discovered in the second wave.
Within the last 3 weeks, cases have surged in the state, mostly emanating from the NYSC orientation camp over the last 7 days. 47 new cases of COVID-19 have been recorded. All are receiving treatment and doing well, except one that passed away yesterday, 22nd December 2020. May Allah forgive her, and may her soul rest in perfect peace. Due to this emergent situation, we have no other option than to institute further measures to protect the people of our dear state in conformity with the national COVID-19 control guidelines.
In the meantime, ahead of the Christmas and New Year celebrations, the Inspector General of Police Muhammad Adamu has ordered all Assistant Inspectors General of Police and Commissioners of Police in charge of zonal and state commands nationwide to provide round-the-clock, watertight security arrangements and proactive high visibility patrols in all states and the FCT. Operational assets of the force are also to be deployed on major highways, airports, railway stations, immigration centers, motor parks, places of worship, and financial institutions. The IGP warned that acts bordering on indiscipline, extortion, and intimidation of travelers and other road users would not be condoned. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, has been given details of the arrangement reached between members of the Academic Staff Union of University ASU and the federal government. Dr. Ngige explains that the federal government has been stretched to its limit in arriving at the deal, which he said is based on the economic realities in the country. ASU yesterday called off its 9-month-old industrial action following its latest meeting with the federal government.
When ASU came, they said they needed the 220 billion. I told them, you can't get it. The money is not there to give you. The Minister of Finance has just left this meeting, but if she was still to be in this meeting, she will start laughing. Nobody can give you 220 billion. They now said, okay, that 220 billion is supposed to be one tranche, that they want 50% of it, 110 billion. Again, I told them you can't get 110 billion. I told them that the entire COVID budget of the federal government of Nigeria is 500 billion. So how can we give you 110 billion revitalization? Then again, side by side with it, going pari passu with it, is the issue of end academic allowance. So it's for you and for other workers in the university system who are in the other unions. Again, the federal government said, we give you 20 here and give you 30 here, 50 billion. They refused. But at the end of the day, what we agreed on now is that 40 billion will go to the university system for all the workers, ASU members inclusive.
The Federal Road Safety Corps FRC has issued a February 2021 deadline for the installation of safety valves in petroleum tankers in the country. FRC Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi, who disclosed this, says it is part of efforts to curb recurring explosions across the country. Mr. Oyeyemi said personnel will be deployed to various tank farms to enforce the new directive.
Deadline for the installation of the safety valves now agreed is 28th of February. So it's a good news for me. So even if a tanker falls, it won't spill. Abroad, in developed countries too, it's not that tankers don't fall. They do, but they don't spill, they don't cause damage. And also the deployment of our personnel to the various tank farms. This is yielding result gradually. When we have a problem over the years, there's bound to be some problems. And further to this too, a proposal has been submitted through the Secretary to the Government of the Federation for support to the transporters. And I know this one is receiving attention.
You've been listening to Global Updates on Fresh 107.9 FM, Abeokuta. On the foreign scene, UK bans arrivals from South Africa as COVID-19 cases surge. This and more to come. To stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Outside our shores now, the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, EHRC, says gunmen killed more than 100 people in an attack on Wednesday in western Ethiopia, the latest in a series of deadly assaults in the area. The EHRC, a government-affiliated but independent body, said in a statement late on Wednesday that more than 100 people were killed in fires and shooting perpetrated by armed men in the Benishangul Gumuz region. The commission said survivors had disturbing photo evidence of the attack on sleeping residents in Metakel zone, which began in the early hours of Wednesday and continued until afternoon. Ethnic violence over land and resources has been a persistent problem in Ethiopia under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, often seen as a backlash to the Nobel Peace Prize winner's efforts to lead democratic reforms in Africa's second most populous nation. Travel by visitors to the UK from South Africa has been banned amid concern over a variant of COVID-19 linked to the country. With the new rule, people who have been in or transited through South Africa in the last 10 days are no longer allowed into the UK. The new rule does not apply to British and Irish nationals, but they will have to self-isolate. The variant was found in London and northwest England, both in contacts of people who had been in South Africa. The UK Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, says anyone in the UK who has travelled to South Africa in the past fortnight and anyone they have been in contact with are to quarantine immediately, along with their households.
New variant is highly concerning because it is yet more transmissible and it appears to have mutated further than the new variant that's been discovered in the UK. We've taken the following action. First, we are quarantining cases and close contacts of cases found here in the UK. Second, we're placing immediate restrictions on travel from South Africa. And finally, and most importantly, anyone in the UK who has been in South Africa in the past fortnight and anyone who is a close contact of someone who's been in South Africa in the last fortnight must quarantine immediately.
Meanwhile, a New Zealand pilot blamed for causing Taiwan's first domestic coronavirus transmission in months has been fired by the island's EVA Air. On Tuesday, a contact of the pilot tested positive, ending Taiwan's 253-day streak without a local case. Pilots returning to the island after a flight are meant to remain in quarantine for 3 days, but are not tested unless they show symptoms. Unaware that he carried the virus, the pilot continued to fly and was reportedly coughing on a flight to Taiwan from the US before testing positive on December 20th. EVA Air said the pilot was fired for violating operational principles, including his failure to wear a mask in the cockpit. Other than the woman, he is thought to have infected 2 of his colleagues, a pilot from Japan and 1 from Taiwan. U.S. President Donald Trump has vetoed a $740 billion defense spending bill that passed Congress this month. Mr. Trump is objecting to provisions that limit troop withdrawals from Afghanistan and Europe and remove Confederate leaders' names from military bases. Mr. Trump called the 4,500-page act, which has been nearly a year in the making, a gift to China and Russia. Lawmakers passed the measure with an overwhelming majority and could override the president's rejection. The House of Representatives is due to hold a vote on the defense bill on Monday, and the Senate is scheduled to do the same on Tuesday. In business, an announcement of a trade deal between the UK and European Union is expected to happen later today. UK and EU negotiating teams talked through the night to finalize the details of an agreement, with reports saying UK cabinet ministers held a conference call late on Wednesday to discuss a post-Brexit trade deal with the EU. Prime Minister Boris Johnson and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen also held talks throughout Wednesday, and talks are expected to continue today. 3 critical issues needed to be resolved, including fishing rights, government support for industry, and how a deal is enforced. The 2 sides have 1 week to get any deal formally approved in London and Brussels. In sports now, the Boston Celtics won their NBA season opener against the Milwaukee Bucks after Jason Tatum hit a late three-pointer in a thrilling finale. The Celtics had a 17-point lead going into the final quarter and held off the Bucks en route a 122-121 points win. Last season's NBA finalists, the Miami Heat, lost 113-107 to the Orlando Magic. Evan Fournier scored 25 points and Aaron Gordon chipped in with 20 for hosts Magic. The Washington Wizards lost to the Philadelphia 76ers by the same scoreline despite Russell Westbrook's triple-double on his debut. In another game, overtime was needed to split the Sacramento Kings and Denver Nuggets, with Denver losing 124-122 despite a triple-double from Nikola Jokic. Before we end the global updates on Fresh 107.9 FM Abeokuta, here's a recap of the main stories. I told you that the Ogun State government has announced suspension of street carnivals and restricted attendance to crossover services as COVID cases rise in the country. on foreign travel by visitors to the UK from South Africa has been banned amid concern of a variant of COVID-19 linked to the country. We also told you in sports that Boston Celtics recorded a 122-121 points victory over the Milwaukee Bucks in their NBA season opener. That's the global updates on Fresh 107.9 FM Abeokuta, as edited by Omoyemi Adesoye. I'm Wale Bakare. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon.
Broadcasting worldwide, the latest hits and the greatest memories. Fresh 107.9 FM.
Bínaba gorí ilé ìmọ̀ fẹ́jú tuntun ni gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọ̀kúndùn bá ń kẹjẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ ṣe kẹ́ ẹ̀ má gbẹ̀nẹ́ gorí ọ̀tá ẹ̀ má fa ìlàkàsí jà